In the beginning, there was no such distinction. Philosophy was simply the Greek for love of wisdom, and anyone who devoted themselves to wisdom, to knowledge of any kind, was called a philosopher. That's why Thales is often recorded as the first Greek scientist. He's also recorded as the first Greek philosopher. In the beginning, there was no distinction between philosophy and other disciplines. Philosopher just meant lover of wisdom, any kind of wisdom. As time went on, however, particular areas of thought became elaborated enough, or systematized enough, or established enough in other ways to peel off as distinguishable disciplines in their own right. One of the first to peel off was mathematics. Pythagoras and the Pythagoreans, who gave us both the Pythagorean theorem and the existence of irrational numbers, they undoubtedly considered themselves philosophers, not mathematicians. Pythagoreans drew no distinction between number theory, musical theory, and the speculation on the role of number and harmony as basic philosophical principles in the universe. Only later, in Euclid, and interestingly enough, in the systematic axiomatization of geometry, does mathematics start to be treated as a distinct field in its own right. Now you've got philosophy here and mathematics over here. Astronomy is probably the next discipline to peel off, though in the archaic amalgam of astronomy and astrology that appears in Ptolemy. Most importantly, astronomy peels off only with a substantial step in systematization around 100 to 150 AD, Ptolemy's Almagest, and with an applicable technology of astrological prediction. Until after Isaac Newton, there's no physics. Newton thought of himself as a natural philosopher. Only with the astounding intellectual achievement of his Principia of 1687 was there a field distinct enough with its own Newtonian systematization, with its own experimental techniques, to be thought of as a separate field of physics. Usually people refer just to Newton's Principia. The full title is Philosophia Naturalis Principia Mathematica, the mathematical principles of natural philosophy. Other disciplines have peeled off in our own century. There used to be part of philosophy called philosophy of man. With the development of ethnographic techniques in the early 20th century, and with its own smatterings of theory, philosophy of man became the science of anthropology. The key here is the same throughout. Once an area has some real systematization, agreed theoretical basics, and/or experimental techniques, it becomes a science on its own. Philosophy has always thrived on controversy. One goal of this course is to clarify the core areas of controversy in philosophy of mind. What are the arguments behind dualism that have led most contemporary philosophers to reject it? What is it that we see when we see color? Are there reasons to think that consciousness is forever beyond the reach of science? I'll sometimes be arguing for a particular approach to questions like these, but I'll never be laying down a single dogmatic answer. In each case, I'll be trying to capture the excitement of intellectual controversy by laying out issues in terms of a range of intellectual options and alternatives. The first 6 lectures will lay out basic concepts, classical theories, current hypotheses in philosophy of mind. Functionalism has emerged as a dominant trend in current research and will follow its lead in the next 6 lectures. Those concentrate on perception, our conceptions of ourselves and minds as they function in the world. Real robots play an interesting role in that exploration. In a third section of the course, I'll focus on questions of intelligence, yours and mine, but also the idea of artificial intelligence. Just how much alike and just how different are brains and computers. The final 6 lectures of the course focus on subjective experience and the continuing mystery of consciousness. At every point, I'll be talking about philosophical theories, but also about the structure of brains and the most recent data from the neurosciences. At every point, I'll be raising psychological questions, but also bringing in issues from robotics and the history of smart machines. Contemporary philosophy of mind is actively interdisciplinary. It's from the cross-fertilization of these different fields that some of the most interesting perspectives often arise. I'll be drawing examples from literature, from the arts, and from the movies and the history of film, from